Hey everybody, welcome back. It's patch 8.15, and this time I'm going to show you a different build for Jax using Essence Reaver. Compared to my previous Jax build that used Rage Blade, this build is more focused on burst damage and doing damage from abilities, and having maximum CDR with endless mana sustain from Essence Reaver. Our core items will be Trinity Force and Essence Reaver. So we get 75 AD from Essence Reaver, and it has some pretty interesting passives. First off, basic attacks restore 1% of missing mana on hit. So if you're ever running low on mana, you just have to attack some minions or the jungle monsters and you'll restore mana. And the less mana you have, the faster you gain it back. Then next passive, after casting your ultimate, your next basic attack within 10 seconds grants Essence Flare, which is a buff. And that only has a 30-second cooldown. So every time you activate ult, it will be ready to proc Essence Flare. So Essence Flare gives you 50% bonus attack speed, and for comparison, Trinity Force gives 40% bonus attack speed. And also, basic attacks during this time refund 20% of your remaining basic ability cooldowns. This will reduce your cooldowns on your Q, which we're going to be maxing, and your E, which has a really long cooldown usually. So when you activate your ultimate, not only are you going to get your regular armor and magic resist, but now you're also going to get 50% bonus attack speed. And on top of this, we're also going to take in the runes Nimbus Cloak, so your ultimate is also going to give you movement speed when you activate it, so it'll help you stick to people and use that fast attack speed. Now for the keystone, I'm going to run Lethal Tempo because even more attack speed in combat, so all of those basic attacks are going to be restoring mana and reducing our cooldowns, so I think that's pretty good. But if you don't like the very high attack speed style, you can press the attack for more burst damage instead, or you could also play this item build with Conqueror if the enemy team is tanky, because Conqueror counters tanks. And the other runes are going to be Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Secondary Sorcery with Nimbus Cloak, of course, for the movement speed with our ultimate. And Transcendence, because with our first two items we're going to reach maximum CDR, and then after that, when we start building defense, we can buy a Frozen Heart and Spirit Visage for 30% CDR total, and that will also increase our maximum mana, which will give us more mana restoration from our auto attacks. And that excess CDR is converted into AD. Now for the item build order, we're going to start with Machete, of course, and Refillable Potion. And the early game, you really just want to get your basic boots and Phage for the movement speed, for the sticking power. You want to be able to stick to enemies in combat and not get kited, so you can keep hitting people with your lethal tempo. Now for the boots, 9 times out of 10 you're going to go for the defensive boots, but if you're fed, you can always go for the offensive boots. But there's no rush to finishing the boots. You can finish your core items first if you're doing well, but if you're losing early, you might just want to get the defense boots fast. The first big item you want to finish is the Trinity Force. Then right after that, you want to get your Essence Reaver. Together, these are going to give you, of course, the CDR, but aside from that, the Trinity Force is going to give you attack speed. The Essence Reaver is giving you the AD, which is good to have both of those, because if you just have one of those, your DPS will be lacking. This build has pretty good burst damage with the Sheen proc on top of all the AD scaling on our abilities. And then in the late game, for your defense, prioritize the CDR items, Frozen Heart and Spirit Visage. Unless, of course, the enemy team is all AD, then just get the Frozen Heart and skip the Spirit Visage. And then if you are extremely fed, you could just pick up a Sterix Gauge, which will pretty much make you unkillable against everything, because the only thing that can really kill you is burst damage from like mages, not AD carries, because you can just block their autos. So Sterix protects you from burst damage. So for Jax, you have two options for the first clear. You can either go for the level 2 aggressive but risky gank, but also more rewarding, or you can go for the safer level 3 gank. But regardless of which option you're going for, you want to start at the bot lane buff, either red or blue buff, doesn't matter. Start level 1 with E. If you want to go for the level 2 gank, level up Q and run to either mid or bot lane. And when you're going to gank, just use E and then Q on top of the person. Hopefully if they flash, you can just follow it up with flash if you're fast enough and still stun them. But if you want to go for the safer route for the level 3 gank, take W level 2 instead of Q and just farm the jungle until you get your level 3, then level up Q and gank top or mid. So I'm going to show you two different games. The first game I was able to get really fed early and do a lot of damage and just snowball the game. The second game I wasn't able to get as many kills early, so you can see a little bit of a comparison. Level up W because I'm going for the level 3 gank instead of level 2. If I was playing with lower ranked friends, for example, I would go for the aggressive play to try to carry the game. But when I'm playing at my own level, I'm just gonna go for the safe route most times. So I'm just doing blue, romp, wolves, and then red. That'll give us our level 3 Q. And then I decide to gank top or mid lane, or invade the jungle. So since I don't want to gank top or mid, since both enemies are under the tower pretty much, I'm just going to invade the jungle. And look at this, we find this blue over here, and I am barely able to run all the way over here and jump over the wall and get that smite just in time before that last hit. Got our blue buff reset. There goes both of our flashes. But now I'm getting a little bit kited. Take some damage from tower. It's a mistake. I act like I'm walking away, but then when I get out of vision, she walks over to Gromp. I walk back this way. That was a mistake by her. That's our first blood. Now I'm too low to really fight that Gromp. I don't want to get collapsed on with no health at all. So instead, I see this Teemo with low health up here. I know that I can't 1v1 him, but if I get my top lane to engage, maybe I can make something happen. So there goes Teemo's cooldowns. We're able to just jump on him, stun him, and we get that kill. So if you want to really hard carry a game, this is the type of thing you have to do. You just have to play aggressive, and you have to get some early kills. Like 3 to 5 kills in the first 10 minutes, and then you can potentially just solo carry the game. Now I'm going to work my way down towards bot. Go for another kill, pick up Gromp on the way there. They do get a kill on our Aurelion Soul, but I'm just going to run in here, try to pick off the squishier one first. And now we move on to the other squishy one, and that's going to be an easy double kill. So just slowing this down to show you the perfect combo ability sequence. EQ, first auto, then W to auto attack reset, so you get 2 autos quickly. And she's dead. Do some more farming. The enemy mid lane comes over to try to chase me away. It's a Zed, so he does some pretty good damage. I smite the wolf out of fear because I thought I was going to die. Let's go back to base now because that's enough for another component of Trinity Force. We're going to get the Sheen now. Then we can grab blue, and the enemy bot lane is kind of pushing. So let's run down there after Scuttle. Trying to cut off their route. Can't quite cut off the Jhin, but we are able to trap this Lux over here. But she uses Flash. Gets away. Too bad this Aurelion Soul was AFK for this entire fight because it would have been so much easier. But still, me and this Rakan are trying to fight these guys. Rakan jumps in, knocks up Lux, ignites, and I'm able to jump in, get that kill. Rakan pays for it with his life, and here comes the jungler to finish me off. Would have been an easy 3v2 if Aurelion Soul wasn't AFK the whole time. But at least we got some money out of that. So I respawn, run over to red buff, and then use the red buff to try to get a kill in mid lane. You guys pinging me back. I gotta go for the kill, man. Gotta get fed. This is how you carry. So this guy just ults me. I use my ult, and we get that kill. It was pretty close. Sorry for scaring you mid lane, but gotta go for it. And since everything else in the jungle is already dead, now I'm just gonna jump over here, grab these Krugs. Top lane's getting ganked, so I run over here, try to help him. He dies. I hit a shroom, so I'm just gonna go back now. Get that Trinity Force. Then when I leave base, I'm gonna work my way down towards bot lane, killing the camps on the way there, the wolves and the Scuttle. Just to be as efficient as possible with my time, not wasting any time. Leave a control ward for my bot lane. Clear the ward, and then the enemy saw me, so I just take a long route around through the jungle, walk all the way around, jump over the wall, sneak in behind them. So Rakan jumps in, knocks up the Lux, and we're just going to jump in, finish her off real quick, nice and easy. And let's just go back to farming, not wasting any time. The main threat on the enemy team right now is the Kindred. She's really the only one that's fed. Fortunately, I'm Jax, so I can counter her with my E. I can also counter her movement with my Q, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And speaking of Kindred, there she is. So we force her ultimate. Now I just gotta try to Q after she jumps away. Now here I'm trying to keep in range, and this Lux literally blocked my movement, so I couldn't get my last hit, and I died before I can kill her. So I mean, I was gonna die anyways, but I was pretty sure I was gonna be able to kill that Kindred if my movement wasn't blocked there by Lux. Was gonna grab this dragon, but look what's happening in bot lane. Enemy junglers ganking, and they get both my teammates. So I'm not gonna go for dragon right now. Instead, I just decided to try to camp in this bush. Zed is able to get away. And I didn't even notice, but the other 3 guys were doing dragon the whole time. So, unfortunate. But now we're going to run down here and try to get these squishies. And we get the Kindred. That's important. At least we got the shutdown bonus. At least we got something. Ooh, enemy Lux gets a double kill. Let me just clear this jungle real quick because my bot lane is dead, so I'm not going to gank them. Can't gank mid lane. So instead, we're just going to farm. Still can't gank mid, can't gank top because he recalls. So we're just doing a full clear. Now finally, we're going to go back to base because that's going to be just enough for the BF sword. Get a little bit more burst damage, some more AD scaling on our abilities. Running down towards bot lane again. My teammates this time win the team fight. And now I'm just going to push down this tower. We're going to get another tower. And we're going to make it out safe. Grab a red buff on the way out. And here I was going to try to camp in this bush to see if anybody was going to walk past again. So these guys are here, killing our control ward, so you know they're going to walk up here. But these guys, since they both showed up at the same time, not going to try to 1v2, so I just had to walk away. So I just grab blue and then do another full clear because can't gank bot, no teammates down there, can't gank mid, they're already pushed. I maybe should have just grouped up with my teammates, but I think it was kind of early and I could just farm a little bit more and get some more experience. If you group up too early, you're missing out on a ton of experience. So after Raptors, let's go back to base because that's enough to get our Caulfield's Warhammer. And then let's go back to Krugs because those are the last thing that's alive in the jungle. Then after Krugs, we can go up to top lane, push that now. Looks like a fight is happening in mid lane, but this top outer tower is still up. See, right here, the enemy gets a double kill, and I probably should have grouped. But anyways, we are going to get the tower. Just something I noticed. It's like I'm too greedy. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of experience, but it's like certain things like that could be the difference. Like one bad team fight could cost you the game. So in this case, it looks like my teammates got a 3 for 3 now, so it ended up working out pretty good. We got a tower. Then I have some time to free farm the enemy jungle, get romping wolves. Blue buff is about to spawn too. Now the Jhin was just over in that lane. He's walking this way through the jungle, and I see him on the map. So I'm going to wait around this corner and surprise him with an E when he shows up. So that's an easy kill right there. And now this blue buff is up, so let's grab that before we leave. Go back to base now. That's going to be enough to finish our Essence Reaver. Now we got our core items complete, 40% CDR. Then after the Essence Reaver, we're going to have enough for a Glacial Shroud. So the Glacial Shroud is going to give us some CDR, but also Glacial Shroud is going to give us some more mana. So all of our basic attacks are going to restore a little bit more mana because the mana restore scales with your percent missing mana. So once you get that Frozen Heart done, you're going to have a lot more mana regeneration from your basic attacks. Farm some minions, then after the minions are all dead, farm some Krugs. Zed's coming around the corner. Too bad I don't have my E ready, but I'm just going to walk up to this guy, use my E when he lands, and I took like no damage because of my ultimate. Look at that attack speed there on red buff from the lethal tempo, still active. So let's try to flank these guys in mid lane. There's that really fed Kindred that I really got to try to assassinate. I know she doesn't have ult because I just saw her use it. So we are able to get that Kindred, but Lux is going to come finish me off. But at least we got the most fed enemy dead. Let's try to get this Teemo up in top lane. So start with the E, waiting for him to use his blind, but he really holds on to it for a long time. Blocks like 5 of my hits. Easily finish that guy off. Let's start building the Spirit Visage now. Now since top lane is the only lane that still has the inner tower up, we're going to run over there because it'll be a lot easier to get that than the inhib towers in mid and bot lane. Get the tower. Now we got all inhib towers exposed. Doing some farming. Alternating between farming the lane and farming the jungle. So you kill a wave, then go into the jungle, kill a couple camps, then go back to the lane. Or go to the next lane. Let's run a mid lane and see if we can get a kill or two. Looks like Nasus gets the Zed. I guess Kindred doesn't notice that I'm here. So we're going to get that Kindred. And once a Kindred's dead, we can do pretty much whatever we want because she's the most fed one. So we can't really push this lane right now because our minions have a long way to go before they're here. My teammates just dive straight past tower and they get a kill on Teemo. I'm going to run in here and try to help these guys. So I'm just going to tank this tower here so they can get out. There we go. We got a kill and we get out. Another dragon's up, so I'm going to run over here, jump right over the wall. Before going back to base, let's just grab this. There's Zed, but we got Smite. And he made a mistake. Alright, that's our Spirit Visage complete. So now let's go for this Baron. Try to close out the game. They get our Nasus, but looks like they can't really get past our defenses here, and I'm able to finish off the Baron. Let's just try to finish off these last enemies over here. A couple squishies, get them both with the E stun. Should have actually probably bursted down that Kindred first, because I might have been able to burst it down before the stun ended so she couldn't even ult. I'm just going to run into the enemy base now and end the game. Now let's move on to the second game. Same first clear out as the last game. I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing. I'm just going to skip through. I'm going to skip through most of the early game because there's not a lot of action. So get our level 3, take Q, and this time, since the enemy mid lane is kind of push, that's going to be a potential kill. And I made a mistake here by leaving this bush, because if I would have stayed in the bush, I would have been able to Q to Cassiopeia after she flashed, and I could have stunned her. But then the enemy jungler shows up, and I switch my focus to him. I still have flash up, so I use my flash to kill Lee Sin. But, I mean, if I would have played that better, probably would have got both kills. Because Cassiopeia had nothing. No mana, would have been dead for sure. Try for kill in top lane real quick. Looks like that's warded. Enemy mid lane comes back to lane, so let's run down there and try again. Let's try to get her this time. This time she doesn't have flash, and we get that kill. Meanwhile, the enemy jungler ganks bot lane and gets a kill for their ADC. So I'm not going to be able to gank bot for now. So instead of that, just going to do some farming. We can grab the Scuttle, Romp, and then Wolves, and then go back to base. That's going to be enough, again, to get our Phage and basic boots first recall. Have a lot more movement speed in combat. So after shopping, we can go grab blue. Don't really want to gank bot right now because our brand is in base. So I'm just going to work my way over to red buff. 8.5 minutes into the game, only 1 kill and 1 assist. But it's a slow-paced game. And slow-paced games are not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you're playing a late-game focused champion like Jax. I am finally able to get a kill up here in top lane. Then a minute later, running down through river by dragon, come across these guys doing dragon. If I would have shown up 2 seconds earlier, I would have been able to smite that. They didn't have the jungler. Thanks for that help on Scuttle. Fiddle. I'm going to grab this. Just need a couple hundred more for Trinity Force. So it looks like the Pyke was actually able to snowball pretty hard from those early kills. Because he ended up getting pretty fed early. He was the most fed on the team for about 10 minutes. So we pick off 2 of the enemies over here. But then the other 3 guys are chasing my bot lane really deep. So we're going to run over there and try to avenge these guys. They bunch up, so we're able to jump in and AoE stun them both. Now our top lane gets a double kill, so now he's getting pretty strong too. Let's finish our Trinity Force, start building Essence Reaver. go grab red, and then just invade the jungle and look for a fight. Look at that, Rengar's pushing alone up top lane. Let's run over there and try to 1v1 this guy. I'm pretty sure we can beat him because I have double buffs, and I have my ultimate up. So, activate ult at the start of the fight. And it's going to be pretty easy to burst this guy down. Now we can get this tower. Grab another wave. Then after this wave, we can go farm some more in the jungle. We already took a lot from the jungle, so we're just going to go over to Scuttle Crab. Then I was going to recall, but I see the enemy jungler in mid lane and a fight happening in mid lane. So I'm pretty sure that I can do this Rift Herald without it being contested. So just leave a control ward and pit, make sure it's not warded. I want to know that nobody can see me. Go for the Rift Herald. Go back to the base. Get our BF sword. Pyke is roaming from mid lane trying to get some kills, chasing these guys down river. And he gets pulled. So that's a dead Fiddlesticks. First tower down. You guys can kill that Rengar. I'm sure I'm going to kill these minions. With 2 enemies dead, that's a good time to activate Rift Herald. And we get the second tower. Now that dragon's still up, so I'm going to run over there while we have the chance, while the enemies are busy trying to clear that bot lane wave. And here is going to try to steal this red buff. These guys, there's 3 of them waiting for me in the bush. And there goes my perfect game. Let's try to flank this Cassiopeia. So squishy. And just like that, she's dead. This is pretty funny right here. This whole fight, just so funny how many Qs I could use because the cooldown was so short. So this guy, he jukes me pretty good, to be honest. Yeah, jumps the minion, jumps at his minion. And that was just a terrible flash, but it just doesn't matter because I have so many gap closes. Like, he ults me away, like, that would normally just end the fight. So then I just Q, then I Q again, then I Q again, and just catch him, and he's dead. So I was in the enemy jungle, see a bunch of enemies show up, so I just try to leave. I just try to run away. This Ashe ult stops me from jumping over the wall. These guys all show up, and I might have been able to escape this. Could have Q'd to that ward, but I instead just tried to go for that kill on the Rengar before I went down. Get another tower in mid lane, and now that bot lane has an exposed inhibitor, so I really want to try to work on that bot lane. So that bush is apparently warded. Lee Sin just saw me. There goes another Ashe ult. Here comes Pyke, and I decided to jump back in. I didn't really think Pyke was going to get a kill, but look at that guy. We got our Wukong here chasing these guys away. Lee Sin lands a Q, tries to jump to Wukong. Wukong cancels it midair with his ult. Finish him off. We finish off the Ashe, we finish off the Fiddlesticks, and we finish off the Cassiopeia. Look at that, Wukong still alive. So now we're going to get this inhib. And guys, this game is just about over after this last push, so I'm going to say thank you for watching the video. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully you learned something. Please leave a like if you would like to see more videos like this one. Please leave a comment if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you again next time.